Welcome back, everyone. We are Little Brown Women, and this is our podcast, Unplugged. Every fortnight, we talk candidly with our wondrous guests and with each other about a range of important and topical issues, often from the lens of identity, culture, and empowerment. Today, we are so excited and honoured to welcome the wonderful Roxie Nafousi onto the show. Roxie is a professional emotional health advisor, writer, entrepreneur, qualified yoga teacher, ambassador for the Mental Health Foundation, and self-love activist. She is also the host of her brilliant podcast, The Moments That Made Me. In today's episode, we explore Roxie's life journey and her perspective on health and happiness, her philosophy on relationships and motherhood, and how she finds balance between work and play. So without further ado, let's get talking. Welcome, Roxie. How are you?
So good. Oh my goodness, what a lovely introduction. Just the cutest. I'm obsessed with you guys.
We're obsessed with you, and we're so excited to welcome you onto the show because you know that we have been friends for a long time, and so to actually welcome you is just wow. It's definitely a milestone for us. So thank you so much. Thank you. And also, can I just say, I love that we share the same name. That's really exciting for me.
I love it. It was so weird to everyone listening. Just before, whenever we were saying Roxie to you, Roxie, I was getting so confused. I was like, what? What am I supposed to say?
Love it. So I'm just going to get straight into Roxie. You have always stood out to us as being probably the most authentic person that we follow on Instagram. And for me, you've always kind of stood out as being very dedicated to living your life in, I guess, just in alignment with your true self, your true desires in a way that completely honors you without needing the validation of others. And obviously, I know there's ups and downs in life, but you're so powerful. And the way that you sort of speak about the ups and downs, kind of saying, yeah, there are downs, but they don't have to get the better of you. You're really inspiring. And I think for me, I'd love to hear about your backstory. What was life like in your 20s? How did you get here?
Oh my God, I'm literally going to cry, you guys.
It's a fully loaded question. I'm sorry, but it's just
so cute.
Love the backstory.
Okay. So my 20s, basically, I was the opposite of authentic. And I think that was what happened was I was always someone that I think I kind of felt like I was on the outside looking in. And I was thrown into this world quite young of celebrity and fame. And I was like surrounded by people, not that I had it, but that I was surrounded by people that had it. And so you kind of think, at 21 and you're hanging around with all these, incredibly talented and successful and recognized people. And you think, oh my God, that is the epitome of greatness. And how can I be a part of that? And so you're always I was always sort of just like trying to be a part of this like cool group or, is whatever. And I spent my life just like going to parties, trying to, be seen with the right people or be liked by the right people. And that if, if someone famous liked me, then I would be validated or something like that, and it really just came from a complete lack of self-worth and just trying to attach myself to anything that would make me feel worthy. And I think as well, I did that a lot with, I think I did that with boyfriends since I first started having boyfriends, is that I was as good as the man that I was with. So if they were successful, if they were, the cool guy at school, if they were this, and that would make me feel worthy. And so a big part of my journey has been being able to understand that my worth comes from me and not from the people I surround myself with. But that was really hard to let go of, but also incredibly liberating because I suddenly just no longer needed to be part of this cool group, right? Cool in inverted commas. What is cool anyway? I didn't need to be part of this group to be worthy. It's like if I just did me and I just stayed in my own lane and did my best self and did what I love and talked about mental health, which wasn't cool at the time. And I just was like, okay, I'm just into self-development and this is my thing and I'm just going to do me and stop trying to be a socialite or an influencer, which was so not me. then I was able to step into my power, and then magic just happened.
I love that. Everything you've just said is just, I think we can all relate to it, but especially that last bit, focusing on yourself as opposed to everyone else. There are points in your 20s, and I say this as 28 going on 29, and I think I'm in the thick of it, where you almost kind of look back and you think there have been times that I felt really stifled to the point that I couldn't even step into my own greatness because I was either trying to be like everyone else or focusing on what they were doing as opposed to what I could be doing based on my strengths and my own worth. And I love it the way that you say that it's liberating to kind of just let go and completely be you as opposed to somebody else. But it's scary, right? It's scary to actually step back and put all the focus on yourself, because when you do that, you are literally ripping off the band-aid and you start to see the things that need improvement. And that's not a negative thing at all. It's growth. Growth happens in discomfort, right? Completely.
Absolutely. And it's also not something, it's not like you just wake up one day and you're like, right, I don't want to fit in anymore. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just going to be me, and that I'm going to be so cool with that. It's
Yeah.
kind of a process, is that slowly you start to care less about
Yeah.
what people think, and slowly you build more confidence in being yourself. And it's
Mm,
kind of just small steps towards that. Um, and I think as well, what I find and what has been the most kind of the thing that solidified it for me probably was that when you are your authentic self, no matter what that is, if you are in your truest self, you are
mm.
just totally magnetic.
Yeah.
People will just gravitate to you. And
Yes.
it's, all the people that I was maybe once like desperate to impress,
Mm.
now I feel we have mutual respect for each other, probably because I'm not this like, do you know what I mean? The energy
Yeah.
when you're just yourself.
I so no, I couldn't relate to that more. We kind of we spoke last week on our Instagram page. We kind of said the way that you love yourself informs the other types of love that you attract into your life. And that can be from anyone or anything. And that's in the form of respect, like you said. And it's true. I think once you stop sort of being desperate for external validation and you start to validate yourself, and the kind of yardstick you measure yourself with is the one that you've made as opposed to the one that's out there in society, all of a sudden things start falling into place because you're just so aligned with you and focused on your own development as opposed to how other people see you or how other people expect you to be. And that, I mean, for me, that's definitely what comes across with you, Roxy. Like that's how, for me, I see you live your life and your attitude. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but that's definitely what comes across.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind. No, and what you've said is you've articulated it perfectly. I couldn't
Yeah.
better myself.
Well, that's a compliment. Thanks. So it's so nice thinking, like talking about, you growing up, your 20s. I think 20s is such an important time for building someone's foundation. What experiences in particular during your 20s would you say, and it could just be one, it could be more, but do you think have really shaped you and influenced the way that you live now?
Oh God. There are so many. I
I can
wish
imagine.
day I listened back. I'd written this letter to my 20s just before I turned 30 in summer just gone.
Oh,
And I was like, wow, like actually it's on my Instagram and it really kind of does sum it up quite well. But it's just like, for me, I think obviously I've been quite open about this, is that I just went through a really big battle with drugs,
mm,
cocaine predominantly. And, I was a very, very heavy smoker. I was addicted to kind of the party lifestyle. And uh,
yeah.
that, like, when I think about my 20s, so much of it is blurred or kind of painted with this just like memories of just like so many late nights and parties and just crazy like experiences. And they really broke me in so many ways, but I wouldn't ever change it because um it made me hit rock bottom so many times. And like, I was really, yeah, it was such a mess. It was such a mess. I would never do my 20s again. Oh my God, I would never do it again. I think people now are probably in this generation who are turning 20 now are kind of luckier in a way, because there is more awareness around mental health, around healthy lifestyle. People are more looking at people who are role models, who are health. They're not just like falling out of nightclubs, which is kind of what my role models were. It was like kind of cocaine chic, honestly. And I thought it would made me cool. That's the truth. And now I'm like, oh God, but I don't think those role models are there anymore as much. It's way more of a healthy lifestyle, which I love. So I'm going completely off topic. But basically, what I don't think there was a moment, but I think that this extreme heavy party lifestyle definitely made me hit such lows that I was forced to unravel and start a journey to healing. And if I hadn't have got that low, I don't think I would have been propelled into this. Just like, I am sick of feeling depressed, I am sick of being unhappy, I have to find meaning in my life, I have to find inner peace. And then through that journey, everything came.
Oh my gosh, Roxy, do you know what? Thank you so much for being so open and honest. And it must have been, like you said, so difficult at that time, because now you do have quite a lot of access to role models, to people, to subjects that are being spoken about far more openly, like mental health and addiction. And so when you don't have those role models, or you don't have that accessibility to kind of open forums, it's so difficult. And the fact that you pulled yourself up even when you were at the bottom of the hole, I think that shows your inner power and your resilience, but also the fact that you decided to acknowledge that you had a choice to change for the better for yourself. Forget what everyone else thought. The fact that you wanted a better life for yourself, and that's a complete choice. And I love that. It's so empowering.
Well,
And yeah.
sorry, I'm so glad you said that about choice. The moment my life changed was when I read this book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And the lesson from that book, actually, for me, wasn't about the feel the fear and do it anyway. The lesson from the book was about taking responsibility and not being a victim. And that moment, I went, oh my goodness, I have a choice to not be a victim and to actually just go, this is on me. I have to own my own shit. And all this hard crap I'm feeling is on me. It's no one else's fault. This is my fault. And that's not a negative. That's actually empowering when you can go, I did this. I chose to take drugs. I chose to be in toxic relationships. I chose to, I make these decisions. And when you have when you understand the power of your choice, you become so empowered.
Oh, I actually couldn't have said it any better than that. Do you know, being honest with yourself is probably the most empowering thing, because that's the moment you give yourself permission to actually change. And that's a choice, right? So, I mean, you are literally the embodiment of that mantra. So, wow, like if that's not inspirational, I don't know what is. My last question really is like all about now. And from everything that we've spoken about, I know that you advocate the power of the subconscious mind, manifestation, really having gratitude for the present. And that must be such an important practice for your role as an emotional health advisor, a mother, and a writer. Pretty much all of your complete multi hyphenate, like, every single role you have. I think the common denominator is that practice. And that's so powerful because that practice is completely linked to you. And this episode, I mean, we entitled it on purpose, completely in alignment with what you do, which is the importance on the link between physical and mental health and living an authentic life. So I'd like to really know what your philosophy is on the link between emotional and mental health and happiness. How have you understood that in your life, and how do you practice that every day? Because there are so many ups and downs, right? Life is just a series of ebbs and flows, but you make it look so effortless, but you're also super honest about the fact that it is a series of ebbs and flows. How do you do it?
I just don't worry about the down days. This was my favorite thing, I think, that I realized, is just being able to go, today is not my favorite day. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, today is just not my favorite day. Today's a bit of a shit day. Today, I was saying before, like last Monday, I was like, today I hate everything. I am feeling super negative. I'm feeling super like, not like full of back in my old self. My self-loathing has been so extreme for most of my life, and it's not that it's totally, it's mostly gone and healed, but there are still days where I just can't even look in the mirror, and that's okay. It's like, I know that those days come. I know not to attach to them, and they simply don't derail me. And I think that is, that's kind of the strength, because it's not that they don't come. I just feel, there's often moments, I think, when you're on any self-development journey, you'll notice that something will happen and you'll deal with it completely differently to how you would have a year ago. And that's
Yeah.
something that I notice all the time. So let's say an email comes through that before would have like made me so anxious or worried, or I would have thought, oh my goodness, is this going to work out all right? And now I just have full trust that everything works out okay in the end. And with that, you're much more able to handle anything life throws at you. They might make me feel like my state might change slightly, but I get it back to a place of contentment and gratitude almost instantly. So bad feelings don't sit with me. And it really is just that. They just don't sit with me. I have a bad morning is not a bad day anymore, or a bad week. It's just a bad morning. And that's it. You deal with it. You use the tools, you get yourself back to feeling your best, and you move forwards.
That's so powerful. I love the fact that you said it's your choice not to attach yourself to those down days or those kind of bad feelings. And I say bad, that's such a broad word, because bad can mean so many different things, but perhaps those lower vibrational feelings, and also the fact that you can choose how you react, because that's something that I've definitely understood over the past year. Things happen in life. Life happens. Life doesn't stop for you. But the way you feel about it really is your choice, because it's your reaction. And just, I mean, the way in which you've just said all of that, you know what it seems like? It makes it seem like life really isn't that deep. It's really not as bad or as serious as anyone really makes it out to be, because it's really all down to your choice and how you look at it.
You know what, also, it's like, what I think is like, what is the search? Like, this is sometimes I'll work with people and they'll say, there are these things I want to manifest, these things I want to achieve, and they'll get them all, and then they're like, okay, now what? And I'm like, oh, now you just sit with it. Sometimes the chase is not this like explosion of like, oh my God, life is fucking great every minute. It's more like, this is really good. I'm at peace, content. Like, that's the goal, I think, is to be able to just like sit with like quietness and sit in contentment and sit in kind of stillness and just like be cool, be okay, be like smiling within yourself rather than, do you know what I mean?
I
It's
know
like,
exactly what you mean, Roxy.
and
It's
when you
weird, isn't it? You almost like, sometimes I think people are really pent up on getting to the next stage, and I'm like, but you've just missed the whole journey to it.
totally, yeah, I'm God, I've been on quite a wild ride this year, or this last year and a half, and it's definitely so important to keep catching it and stopping and enjoying and sitting.
We honestly could not agree more. And that's, that's something that we've absolutely loved about everything that you've been sharing over the past year. It's really trying to, I mean, and we know that the way in which you share content, every single thing you share is like a tool that someone can implement. That's why you are so amazing. Honestly, that's really why you're so amazing.
How sweet you are! Like, honestly, you're making me feel. You're really, really like boosting my self-esteem right now. I'm great.
We're all about self-empowerment, and this is it, and it's no surprise the kind of guests that we have, because everything, there's just that, that line running through all of our episodes, which is that, it's celebrating, ourselves and our guests, because we all have that amazing thing within us, and that's what you advocate. Final question for you. I'm going to take a bit of inspiration from your podcast, which we absolutely love. Your episodes are brilliant, but I want to ask you what one of your defining moments have been in your life.
For me, will be the moment that I learnt or heard the word manifesting. Because if I hadn't I was at a real one of my many, but it was my final rock bottom, I would say. And my friend was, I was just like, I just thought, "Oh, what is the point? Like, what is life? Is this it? Like, am I just going to be miserable forever?" And my friend said, "Listen to this podcast on manifesting." And I listened to it. And I've told this story so many times, and anyone that's come to any of my manifesting workshops will know this one. But it was a week after listening to that podcast that Wade messaged me on an app called Raya, a year to the day that I had Wolf. And then 2 years later, I mean, my whole career had completely exploded. So it all happened from that moment of learning that I had the power to create the exact life that I wanted. And it's still, I use it this morning. I actually said to Wade, I was like, crap, I was like, I need some new things on my vision board to manifest, because I've manifested all the things I want. I need some new things. It's amazing place to be in. But also, when you do start to manifest like that, you have to be very careful of what vibe you're on. The other day I was on a really low vibe. I was just, like I said, had woken up feeling really just anxious, hormonal, clothing. I'm not even joking. Quite ridiculous service charge bill for my flat came through the door in that moment. They doubled it from the year before, and unknowingly. And I just was like, oh my God, I just manifested this like low vibe bill because I was feeling so anxious and like on a low vibe. And then 5 minutes later, a job that I was going to do just went. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I need to shift energy pronto.
My gosh, how powerful the mind is. That's exactly what I've taken from that. Wow. But you know what, Roxy, my younger sister, she's a great manifester, and she doesn't even realize she's doing it. But one of her mantras in life, she's always, whenever I'm worried or I'm scared or I'm, whatever, she kind of just turns around. She's like, you need to be the thing that you want to be. So I remember I was in an interview and she was just like, be the interview. And you know what? It's so true. It's so true. You almost have to embody the thing that you want for it to manifest. And the thing that you said about, your vibration is so important. I think that's the bit that people are often not told about, or they can forget. You cannot have something when you don't feel aligned to it, or that you already have it. Roxie Nafousi, you are so powerful. You are power.
Hi, Roxie. Roxie, can I just say, my God, what a woman. You are incredible. And that is coming from someone that I feel so relatable to you. I have had similar experiences, the things that you touched on with Roxie, it really resonated with me. And just listening to your journey, listening to the beginning half, your philosophy on relationships and motherhood, that's something that's the phase that I'm in at the moment. That's the phase that I'm looking to go into in my life. And your words are just so wisdomous, as Roxy would say. Our Roxy P. Just to clarify for our audience as well. But to begin with, I wanted to start with the impact of your love of self journey, understanding who you are and how it affected your romantic relationships. Because what we don't realize is our relationships have a huge impact on ourselves. And everything that you've mentioned about being so cautious and careful of what vibrational level you are on and what you are carrying yourself with is so important. But it's also very important to have that person or be in that relationship that reflects that. So how have you done that?
So now, before all of it,
how have you before done it, and then how are you doing it now?
Okay. So before, it was kind of, as I kind of touched on earlier, it was that needing to be validated through the person I was with. And so instantly, in any kind of romantic relationship I was in, I had given them the power. So even though on some level I felt that I was really confident, and I had always felt that I was quite confident around men and in my relationships, actually they always held the power because I used them for my validation. So, and that was kind of, now I look back, I'm like, well, obviously, because I had no self-love for myself. So there was no way I was going to really be in a healthy relationship at all. And then I met Wade, who is obviously just so incredible, very much helped me in my healing journey. Was just, I definitely manifested him, and together we really grew. And even though, we ended up separating, he definitely is my soulmate in many ways, and my best friend. So I think the relationship, but I wouldn't have got to where I got to without Wade. There's no way. And I think it's because, like you've said exactly right, which is that the relationships we have affect our lives so much. And we have to be really careful who we choose to be romantic with and who we let in, because I think often, I do speak to a lot of women who, the fear of being alone is so great that they'll kind of go on a first date, and then instantly the question is, God, I hope they like me. But it's like, no, the question should be, I hope I like them. I hope they're good enough for me, not I hope I'm good enough for them. Like, before we even go into something, we need to really be aware that we are trying to find a partner that is right for us, not that we are right for, and how, of course, it has to be two ways. But, my job is to empower women to be their best selves and to be in their greatest power. So that is my focus, is that we are all finding people that match our high vibe. Because how many people do you know who have got in toxic relationships and it has sent their life in a totally different direction? But if you're with someone that empowers you, makes you feel supported, makes you feel authentic, we come back to authenticity. How different is your life going to be then? And that's why I think when people go through a breakup, I'm like, yes, congratulations, because now you can make sure that you are finding someone that is going to be on a high vibe as you, like raise your vibe, build you up, and that you can work on healing yourself to attract someone that will match this new level of self-worth.
I couldn't agree with you more, Roxy. Again, you're so relatable. Listening to you makes me realize, some of the journeys that I've gone through that I haven't actually realized. And that's the self-love part of it. I relate to you so much on that. I grew up as a very hairy little Indian kid in this Western world that didn't understand, Indians have so much hair, which it is what it is, but going through that journey and not loving myself and not appreciating that then. But now I embrace every part of it. I love my eyebrows and I love my hair, but learning to love myself meant that I was able to find the right person for me, because at that time when I didn't love myself, I was attracting the wrong thing. And in turn, that would then just lower my vibrational level completely. And it was a constant vicious cycle. But it's that moment of realization that loving yourself will enable you to and empower you to break out of that circle and become your true authentic self. And you have done that beautifully, and you are such an amazing advocate for that, Roxy. I really, really do hope that people who are listening to this episode can feel that and can hear the words of wisdom that you share with us. But the next thing I wanted to touch on is, you mentioned having that really amazing relationship with Wade and being able to really grow and have that support. But what I wanted to touch on is the realities of co-parenting and how you make it work. Because especially during this lockdown, one of the statistics are that, there are a lot of separations, there's lots of anxiety. And I've had a lot of conversations with people who have had similar questions on how do you go about doing it? How have you made that work for you? And what would be your advice be to those who are going through a similar situation that, are looking to break out of that cycle?
Yeah, it's really different for everybody, but so I can only speak from my experience. But I guess the main thing is just having constant communication and compassion. There are times where I have hated Wade, and I just think, oh, right? And there are times where he thinks I am the devil incarnated, right? And it's just, because when you're going through a separation, that is how you feel about each other at times. But that's natural. We all go through that. And then you can come back to like, no, we are best friends. We have a beautiful, incredible son together. And the main thing for us has always, always, always been that Wolf can see us getting along and that he witnesses a healthy relationship between his parents, no matter what. So there have been, there might be a week where me and Wade might not get on or we don't talk, but then we always come back to, no, like we have one common goal, and that is to make the best situation that we can for us and for our family. And ultimately, we do love each other, and none of this came from like a bad place. I just believe that you should just do, for us, it was just what felt right, was that not to be together romantically, but to be best friends. And I just think we just keep open communication, keep honest, know that everybody is dealing with heartbreak and separation their own way. So everyone's at different speeds. So definitely, most of the angst will come because one person is dealing with it differently to another. And it's just going, okay, this is my experience of it, but his or her experience is different. And when you can do that from a place of understanding, it just makes the whole process so much easier.
That's brilliant advice, Roxy. I mean, honestly, even for people who are in a relationship and have kids or are looking to have kids, that's perfect advice. I think communication is key. Being honest and communicating, even on the simplest of matters, it will help your own peace and contentment, as well as having a healthy and positive situation to be in, instead of sort of drowning in the negatives. Lastly, lastly, I wanted to touch on your philosophy on motherhood and how it has helped you reach a new level of growth and identity. Because I know a few times you've mentioned having, Wolf being a huge turning point in your life, as well as many other things. What is your philosophy on motherhood, Roxy?
I think for me, being a mom is, I just fucking love it. I just love it. I love being a mom. I'm so proud to be a mom. But I think that I have probably, I think that being a mom is like such an honor, but it is obviously it's just a part of my life. It's the best thing in my life, but it is only a part of it. And just being able to keep my own identity has really enabled me to be a better mother, I think. And that doesn't mean that every mother has to have a career, like by God, like not at all. But even just having your identity as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter, as someone that enjoys health and wellness, as someone that enjoys self-development, whatever it is for you that you identify with, it's just making sure that you don't lose that when you become a mother, because I think it's so easy to do, but for me, it's like I just want to be a good role model as well to Wolf, and I want him to see me, being my best self as well. And yeah, I think I'm just, look, everybody, but it's really hard because I never want to sound like I'm preaching, because I just think that every mom is doing their best, and whatever your best is perfect for you and your family, and that's it. And as long as you're giving love, that's all you can do. All I would say is that I think what works for me personally is that I have a quite relaxed approach to parenting. I probably too made like I just never disciplined Wolf, which is not great, but I just we never did really strict routines. I was never like obsessed with reading parenting books. I don't think I ever read one. I just want, but Wolf is a great kid, so I'm quite lucky, I guess. Like, he's easy, but I just have fun with him, and I make sure that give him like undivided attention when I can, and I don't feel guilty when I can't. Like, if there's times where I have to put him in front of Madagascar while I finish an email or whatever, that's fine. That's fine too. I don't feel guilty about that. But then when I put it away, I'm like 100% with him. And so I think it's just enjoying it as well, but also not having any expectation. I'm not a perfect mum. He's not a perfect child. There's no such thing as perfect, but we're having fun. We love each other. I'm so lucky to be his mum. I'm so lucky he makes me honestly belly laugh. Like, when I was in my 20s, I remember that I thought you could only find true joy if you were high on drugs or drinking. And now I just take him to the park, and that high is better than any I've ever had. Just watching him running up and down a hill, just like that little giggle. He just, honestly, I could talk about him all day. I just have the most fun with him ever.
Oh, I love that, Roxie. He sounds like, I'd love to meet him. He sounds like the most incredible little man.
Oh my God, he's got such a character. He's so funny.
Oh, I love that.
First of all, right, can I just say how much of an honor it is to have you on our podcast today? You know, like you saying that there's no such thing as perfect, and you embracing parenting, and absolutely loved hearing you reflect on your life during your 20s. Like, I'm mega inspired by you, and you remind us that we can achieve and tap into our inner potential when we put our minds to it. Thank you so much for joining us. And for me, I think you're very much aware of what makes you happy, and you actively strive towards that on a daily basis. And I think that's definitely helped you create your multi-hyphenate working lifestyle. You know, I'm currently on that journey at the moment, and there's definitely moments of friction, but I'm still trying to figure that out at the moment. Still trying to figure out that work rhythm. So, Roxie, tell us, what's it like being a multi-hyphenate, and how has your career to date helped you develop this lifestyle and explore different work streams?
Oh my God. So I've never heard the term multi-hyphenate. This is fabulous. Explain it to me.
So multi-hyphenate is a term coined in Emma Gannon's book, The Multi-Hyphen Method. So you're a multi-hyphenate. So you're an emotional health advisor, you're a writer, you're a qualified yoga teacher, like all these wonderful things, and also a self-love activist and Instagram agony aunt. So yeah, that's you.
Oh my God. So I was funny. This week, I was writing down, and I was trying to like understand all the things I do, because I was like, well, I do monthly workshops and clients and the podcast and writing, and then a brand work and free content for social media and a mom and all this stuff. I was like, oh my God. But I was like, this is weird. I want to have my, my pantry collection and stuff like that. And so, yes, there is always something to do. And my life is very full. And the way I find to not get, I think it's just that I really love, I hope that doesn't sound arrogant, me just like listing all the things I do. I don't mean it like that. But
no, you carry on.
But it's just that I think when you're in that mindset of just feeling really inspired and creative, if I have an idea, I just do it. So when I thought to create the meditations and affirmations, let's say, it was kind of just an idea. And old me would have had this idea and sat on it and waited for the right time and da-da-da. And then a new me, me now, was like, all right, this is a good idea. Let's try it, do it. And then within 2 weeks, I've got them on the website, and they do really well. And then I do them again. And the workshops, again, it's just like, here's an idea, let's just put it into action. And I think it's just about being in this mindset of think, do. Do you know what I mean? Rather than like think, wait.
Yeah.
So putting things into action, because, and some of them will work and some of them won't. And but really, if you're in a place of flow and creativity anyway, they more likely than not will work. There's a really great phrase that I repeat all the time, which is, if you want something done, ask a busy person. And it's so true, because when you are like energy, like productivity breeds productivity. Like when you're in that zone of just feeling like fire, you get so much done. And when you have so much energy, and I've done so much work on self-development, in myself, so I have a healthy amount to be able to give to others. And so I want to use it. I don't want to keep it for myself. It's like I want to every day reach and help as many people as I can. It genuinely just keeps me alive. It's my purpose, it's my passion, it's why I'm here. It's not even a question for me. But do I have much do I have much social life? No. I mean, who does right now? But for me, work is it's my fire. So it's not even a question for me to have, more time, I don't know, watching Netflix, whatever. Not that I don't do it. So the rest is important as well, of course. But I just love being busy.
I think, no, seriously, like what's incredible to see, right, is that your work showcases so much passion and authenticity. Like you're so committed to making sure that everyone has a smile on their face and, they're actually holding up okay. I mean, I've seen your workshops, the material that you provide to your followers, that demonstrates that. And through your career and your experiencing of hosting these workshops and delivering this kind of material, I'm sure this has been a learning experience for you. I can personally say that since we've launched Little Brown Women last September, I've learned heaps and bounds from the two girls and also from the guests that we've had on our show. And I can imagine you've definitely learned from your multiple work streams, the interaction, the feedback. I bet there's definitely been some light bulb moments like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And, through your experiences of learning and being fully immersed in your journeys, I bet that's what's helped you develop your dreams and your ambitions and just, generally the goals in your life. So my next question to you is, what are your inspirations in your current life and career? And what's your mission statement? What's your purpose in life?
Honestly, it's just to empower people to feel that they can make their life what they want it to be. It's just as simple as that. And it's just you just don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to feel powerless. You can be whatever you want to be. My journey is not special. Like I am not more special than anyone. I just found some tools and committed to them and they worked. And so I'm like, well, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Like anyone can. And I just want to help everyone. And yeah, I mean, you're totally right about the learning experience every day. To be honest, everything is led by you guys. Or like anyone the workshops, the thing that makes them the most special is the conversation, the community within it. And that builds, like all the women supporting each other in the chat. Like, oh my God, it's wild. Like the last one I had like over 600 people on and it was fire.
Amazing.
It was wild. And even my podcast now, I'm changing the concept. I want to get all of you guys on the show to hear it's just that it's not about me. It's about all of you. And that's my purpose. And I think that's what makes the work really easy. And I think when I say this to people, when they're having self-doubt or they are wanting to launch something or anything, just stop letting it be about you. It's not about you. It's not about your fears. It's about how you're helping someone else. Even if you're launching a product, okay? So let's say you want to launch a product and you're fearful and you're like, oh my gosh, what if no one buys it? What if it doesn't work? And it's like, well, what if somebody loves it. And that product means so much to them. They're so excited to make the purchase and receive it and have it. Make it about them. And then your fear is unimportant, because I think when we can just stop being like revolving our lives around ourselves and actually be in service of others, we can really, we will live a more fulfilled life.
What you said right there is so powerful. And myself, Roxy, Kay, this whole concept of Little Brown Women, it kind of was just inspired by the thought of, if someone just listens to our podcast episode and if it influences them in a positive way, we're delighted. I think it fulfills our mission statement. It's exactly what you're saying. And Roxy, you're a personality, right, that actually enables us to be open and raw with ourselves. It's so important to know what helps us get out of bed, and you make us realize that. And it helps us understand also, what makes us strive towards our potential. And we're not gonna know that unless we've truly understand ourselves. I'm in my late 20s right now, and that's probably the biggest challenge that I face / currently facing right now. And I think throughout my childhood, I've mastered how to suppress my inner thoughts, definitely know how to put on a facade and hide away. I was constantly worried about what people would think or say about me. And don't get me wrong, those thoughts do sometimes make it through my brain, during our down days, the self-loathing days, we have that. But my parents and my friends, the two girls, they've definitely helped me along the way. And, you will never really achieve full awareness by relying on other people or comparing yourself to other people. And it's definitely a journey that needs to be taken on your own. And it's whether you're brave enough to step out of your comfort zone, to cut through all the BS and just be real with yourself. Time is so precious. We've got about 1,440 minutes a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And imagine living someone else's dream but yours. Time flies, and I don't want to have that deep pit of regret when I get to my late ages. So what I'm trying to say is that most of us wouldn't have that toolbox of really understanding what we want to do in life and what makes us happy, what makes us sad or angry or frustrated. We get so lost into achieving our grades in school and doing all the extracurricular because we know that's what's going to make our application more attractive. But we fail to enjoy the process of doing it and fail to understand whether it makes us happy or not. So my next question to you is, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self about that balance between work and play?
So beautifully put, by the way. I love what you just said. I would say advice to my younger self would be I think it would be about not worrying about other people's timelines and the speed that they're going at, but to focus on your own journey, however long that takes, however slow it is or fast it is. It's okay to try something and not decide you don't like it. That's not failure. Being okay with just going, actually, that wasn't for me. I'm going to try something else. But I think also your 20s, as much as they are for figuring out what you want to do, they are also for fun.
It is.
I remember my sister always used to say to me, my older sister, she used to say, I used to go, oh God, I'm hungover again. And she'd be like, oh, shut up, enjoy it.
Exactly.
But for God's sake, you're only 21. Like, you will be a mum soon, and you will not be, one day, and you will not be having time to have hungover Sundays, lying in bed doing nothing.
So true.
So have fun. And you know what? I am so glad I did, despite everything and despite it all. At least I had fun, and I have a lot of stories to tell. So figure out what you want, take your time, but also it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you find out at the end of your 20s or in your 30s or in your 40s. Life is also about creating memories, having fun. You will look back and just go, what a fucking ride.
Well bloody said. I absolutely love it. It's so true. I mean, I still have those weekends where I'm suffering from my hangover, but you know what? At least we're having fun and at least we're making memories. I couldn't agree with you more, Roxie. This conversation has been absolutely phenomenal. I say there's definitely moments in this episode that people are going to stop and pause and just reflect and write down in their own journals, you know, because I know I am. I've been doing that so far. So the whole reason, you know, behind the creation of Little Brown Women, you know, I guess our mission statement essentially is promoting self-empowerment, just like you, Roxie. This is a key question we like to end on with our guests, and we really can't wait to hear your response to this, Roxie. So what does empowerment mean to you?
I think that empowerment is being completely yourself, and that's it. If you're able to just be the version of you that you love the most, then you're empowered.
So well said. That's it. Be yourself. Be your authentic self. That was fire. You're so right. And thank you so much for an amazing episode with us, Roxie. It's been so thought-provoking, and we can't wait to see more from you this year.
God, can I just say before you stop recording that you three are unreal. Honestly, I've spoken to so many people, I've done so many interviews, and you are three of genuinely the most well-articulated, thoughtful presenters, questioners, women I've come across. I am so impressed with you. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. There is no other time I would do a podcast on a Sunday, but for you, anything.
Oh, Roxie,
think you're wonderful, you guys, all of you. I really, what you're doing is amazing. I can't wait to help shout about you guys. And
thank you so much.
It might be the last time we work together.
It
won't be.
It's not. This is the first of many. That's it for today, guys. As always, we'll be welcoming more great guests over the next few months, so stay tuned in and keep listening. If you love what you hear and want to continue supporting us, please follow us on Spotify and iTunes to keep on top of our latest episodes. We love sharing knowledge and the advice and inspirations of our guests. And if you truly love our content too, please leave a rating and comment on iTunes to help the Unplugged podcast reach the ears of more people who want to feel empowered and join in on the conversations that break the status quo and tackle important and topical issues head on. For more Little Brown Women content, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And don't forget to like and leave a comment on our posts. Remember to also sign up to our mailing list via our Instagram page to receive Little Brown Women's quarterly newsletter, where we focus on a range of topics from culture to business to self-development. So until next time, take care, live big, and be kind to yourself.